So I think for the last week, Professor Shabana had done the initial introduction of data IQ. Was there any issue, first of all, with the software access? Is everything okay latency wise? Did the system crash at any point of time? No, all good? Okay, so I hope it will continue the same, but again, we need your feedback in terms of the access. If wherever you feel, something is getting stuck when all of you are operating together, do let me know. We can increase the capacity of the server, but I think it is foundationally good enough. Few instructions to get you prepared for what is coming. This week, we will be starting with the algorithms. So today's session is dedicated to probably the final foundation element of data IQ to make sure that everyone understands all the aspects of data import, data manipulation, feature engineering, and making sure that you can have pivots and everything. So today's session will be completely on data IQ. Next session, we'll start with a recap of regression because that is fundamentally required for logistic regression, decision tree, and so on. And then every session will be one algorithm that we'll be covering from an AI perspective. This is week 4 going on, and you should probably keep a deadline of week 6 or week 7 for the hackathon. Okay, that's the first assessment component that all of us are getting ready for. Remember, the hackathon is completely based on a practical scenario. A data set will be given, data IQ will be the platform. So keep practicing whatever we are doing, keep practicing that. There will be an objective given in terms of what you have to achieve, what you have to predict, what you have to put it in the document, etc., etc. So as and when we are going through the sessions, do make sure that you are practicing it on the platform itself. There will be only one difference in the hackathon is for the data IQ, the software access, you will be given a different login ID and password. And I'll guide you through that in terms of how do you get access to the cloud platform. Come in. So, good morning. The one that we are using currently will not be used for the hackathon. It will be your personal accounts and everyone will have their own accounts. So the information cannot be shared, but the software still remains the same. Only the access will change, but slowly and steadily, I'll tell you about that access later. Also remember, for the main hackathon, there will be a practice mock hackathon, which is one session before the main hackathon, so that you get a feel of how to deal with it, how to understand where you're lacking, how you can improve. And also remember, hackathon is completely open book, open materials, and so on. The only thing that online students need to be careful about is if you are attempting the hackathon online, that the camera has to be switched on. And there is no other alternative or there is no other excuse because there is an on-campus option available. So if you are attempting the hackathon with camera switched off, it will not be considered as an assessment. So it is absolutely mandatory. Online students, this is particularly for you. If you are planning to attempt this online, there is online attendance possible, but then mandatory camera has to be switched on. So please do prep on whatever is needed. No excuses on that day, the camera is not working, it is faulty, etc. It will not be considered. The whole session will be recorded, which means your active camera mode will be recorded if you are attempting the hackathon online. I would always recommend attempt it on campus. There are any issues. If it is there, I can see it. But for the online, it's a risk that you are taking. But again, just make sure that the camera has to be switched on and it's a compulsory load. Is everyone okay with that? Yeah? Yes, sir. Okay. Any questions that you have before we get started today? Anything that you want to clarify about the module, about the assessment? Do remember there are two components, 40% for the hackathon and 60% for the main project, for which the data will also be released in another 2 to 3 weeks. All of you will have different data set that you'll be working on. I will brief you about what needs to be done in the final coursework. What is the final deliverable? Does anyone know the final deliverable for the 60%, what are you submitting? Is it a report, presentation? Presentation, and it's a recorded presentation. That's it. And probably the only extra deliverable other than the recorded presentation will be the PPT itself, which you will be using. But otherwise, it will be your video plus PPT. So no reports for the 60%. For the hackathon, there will be a report, but it's not report. It's like the answer to the question. So whatever questions are given, you'll put a screenshot, you'll show how you did it in Data IQ, write a few lines about the output, and then submit that document. You had a question.
So in the 40% will get one data set and 60% also will get one data set.
That's correct. That's 100% correct. So for the hackathon also, you will be given one data set, and all of you will have randomized data set, but overall the columns will remain the same. The data will be different, which means your output will be different, your model will be different, and everything will be different. But then the columns will remain the same. For the 60%, even that would change. So some of you, for example, might get airline related data, some of you will get oil and gas, some of you will get financial data, some of you will get telecom data, and it's different data set, but of the same complexity. So in hackathon, similar data set, but different values. In the main one, different data set altogether. But all of you will get one each. One different one for hackathon, different one for 60%.
For the 60%, so we have to do a PPT, means we have to come in class and present the.
No, it's recorded presentation. So you do on your own, you record yourself narrating the PowerPoint presentation, the screen and your face should be part of the video, which can be done in Teams. You can record a meeting and then download that video, or you can use screen capture, or you can use any other online tool. Some of you prefer using Kaltura, which is there on My Learning, can also be used. So anything, any tool that can capture your presentation. Yes, please. Good morning. Good time to be in. I'll show the final QR code once again. Those who have joined late can please sign into My Learning. We'll be doing Data IQ straight away. Are you choosing the right link? There are two links. One is for the lab PCs, that's called here, and one is for the external.
Yeah, data actually software is the external.
External, correct. Are you connected to MDX welcome you? Yeah, that's the reason. So if you're on campus, it's better to use the university PCs. They are still trying to resolve the MDX welcomes you Wi-Fi. Like if you're
Hashtag MDX provider.
That's the one, and even in that, yeah, so in the university network, other than the labs, yeah, so if you're connected to your personal hotspot, then it would work. Yeah, but just better use the PCs. Any other questions anyone has? For the module assessment components, anything, this is week 4, you're almost midway throughout the module. Question? Yes. So probably, so this is week 4 going on. By around week 6, we will be releasing so that you have around 3 weeks to 4 weeks to complete the full project. Yeah. So I'll try and release next week, but again depends on how much we have covered so far, so that at least while getting the data, you have an idea of what exactly is happening and what you have. Yeah.
So it will be possible that the practice session will be done 3 days because one day would be a short time.
No, not 1 day. So I would rather prefer it 1 week. So
1 week.
if the mock hackathon is happening now, we'll have the main hackathon next week. Yeah. So what we can do is the second session of the week, we'll keep it as mock, and then you will have enough number of days. And the first session of the starting week could be the main one. So we'll plan it that.
And somebody just give the gist of how the hackathon.
Oh, yes, yes. There'll be more pointers coming on what is there and what
I
is.
guess that learning for me. I'm still learning.
New for everyone, new for everyone. And you never had that sort of an assessment before. So you'll be given enough tips and tricks, don't worry. Yeah.
Can we get the recording sessions for online session?
So I haven't recorded everything. I've recorded some parts. So wherever the recording is done, you will see that in the chat itself on Teams. All the meeting links have its own recording wherever it has been recorded. But now from today onwards, I'll try and record all the sessions because it will get more technical and you need to see the steps. Yeah. Anything else? All good. Shall we get started then? All right. Now, what I need you to do is first prepare for the activity. We are going to start with a quiz. I just want to see where the class is in terms of familiarity with Data IQ software. So let me guide you step by step. What do you need? Number one, what you need is to sign in to your software, locate your project folder, and you should have already made a folder. So just search for your folder with your name. So for example, if this is others, just search like this, and you should be able to see your folder. Come in. And once you find your folder, make a new project, which is called quiz inside your folder. Just making sure that everyone make a new project. You can put today's date also or just write quiz so that you know this is regarding quiz. All of you should be comfortable now with making a project. Where are you? Yeah, you have already made, this is your folder, right? Or this is the new project? Okay, so it's better to create a folder. So what you can do is just go here. So if you can see, if you scroll all the way down, you have project folders, right? And see what, this is your folder, right? Okay, and this, yeah, and then click on new project. So last project that you made was not inside with it. So now, so guys, always keep your folder intact so that whatever work you are doing, multiple projects is there in your folder. So you can access it at any point of time. So just click on new project and name it quiz. All good?
Yeah.
I'll give 5 minutes for everyone to settle down. I'll also create a new project, call it quiz. Online students also take note, always create all the folders, all the projects within the folder. So let me check some random folders. Aditya is in this batch. Yeah, okay. So let's see. Yeah, that's the way I want. So if you go to the folder, which is Aditya, you see there are 3 projects which are listed in the folder. So whatever you are doing should appear inside your folder. Keep on adding projects, multiple projects within the same folder. Okay. And where do you find project folders? Right at the bottom so that you can search for all the folders. Any questions from online students? Okay, all good. All right, now further to prep, anyone wants me to wait? Please let me know. All good? Everyone has created a new project? Great. Now, if you go to week 4 folder on my learning, you will see 2 CSV file. One is called cards1 CSV and one is cards2 CSV. Download both of them and keep it ready. download cards 1 as well as cards 2 separately. You need both the files for the quiz today.
So we have to import those files.
That's right. So that's going to be your next step. Once you have downloaded cards 1 and cards 2, you come back to Data IQ. You will see the option to import your data set, upload your files. Let's upload cards 1 and cards 2. Now, be very careful here. You are not going to create a single data set. You'll keep it multiple, which means cards 1 will be separate, cards 2 will be separate. So we are not merging here. We are not mixing the data. We are keeping it as two different data set. So you can do create multiple data set. And then it will say, okay, the first one is cards 1. You can, say name is okay, create and next. And then it will say the second one is cards 2, which is also fine. You can click create. Once you click next, create, you should be able to see two data sets in your flow. Okay. And I hope now you're comfortable with the flow in Data IQ. Flow for me is always the first check on where I am in the project, right? Because as and when I keep doing, when I keep preparing, when I keep splitting, when I keep running, everything will be reflected in the flow. So every now and then, I will keep back and forth coming to the flow and checking where I am currently. So my flow tells me that currently I have two data sets with me, card 1 and card 2. Please, if you can keep that on your screen, so I know how many are with me. This is good, yes. No need to change now, later. So that's a good question. He's asking, when we were importing, don't we have to change anything in the schema or change any data fields and so on? You can do it at the start. You can also do it later. I always prefer doing it later. Once I've imported, I can always go to prepare recipe, change, double click, see. So a lot of changes can be made even after importing. But first import, make sure everything is good. Then we get ready. We're just waiting for you, Tina. Okay, others are not good, so you are also good now? Yes, all right. Just wait for 1 minute. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to just tell you, what exactly, sorry, this. Yeah, so how exactly, yes? Yes, it's already been recorded. I think so. Let me check. Yep, it's being recorded. Okay, now before you start, just have a look here on how I look at the options of Data IQ, and it's always something that you should be comfortable. So whenever I want to get inside the data set and see what is there, there are two ways of doing it. Can anyone tell me how do I see what is inside cards 2? Double click, that's the best way. I usually do that. So, I just double click and then I get inside the data set. I see the columns, I see the summaries, I see what is there. I hope you have done last week, for the column, how to see the graphs and things like that. What I also generally do is, I'm not sure if you have seen this option, the last column graph kind of option. So if you see the one which is next to the column, it says quick column stats. And this is quite handy because what it does is for all the columns, it gives you a summarized graph straight away. So, if you want to know anything, for example, if you want to know age, the FICO range, for example, I can see, oh, 5,348 are in bad category, 2,261 are in excellent. So, one snapshot can explain everything about all the columns. And it's a great way to quickly know about your data, to quickly know what is there and what. And this is one of the massive features of Data IQ, where it summarizes everything at one go. So this is quite important. What I also do is keep on coming back to flow to make sure that don't do it, just have a look. So again, I make sure, okay, the flow is right now saying that there are two data sets, card one and card two. Another way to get inside the data set is again on top. If you see data set option is there, where you can see how many data sets are currently there in your project. If you want to get into cards one, for example, you can click on cards one and get inside card one. That's another way. But usually I prefer double clicking it, making sure that everything is there from the flow. Few more things on the top menu. This green circle that you see will become super useful when we start running AI algorithms. So whenever we do logistic regression, decision tree, clustering, etc., all the AI algorithms will come in the green circle. So we'll see that a bit later. For those who are into coding, notebooks and web apps and everything is right here. Of course, dashboard and insights can be accessed. So just keep an eye on the top menu so that you get comfortable around the options. What else? Let's get inside cards one. Have you seen the feature of statistics? Yeah. Did you see the auto dashboard where it builds all the graphs automatically? Have you seen that? Yes or no? Yeah. So if you click on statistics and you create your first worksheet, you can ask Data IQ to automatically suggest all the charts, which is massive feature. So it looks at your data, it automatically builds the graph around, and then look at this. All the charts are ready. You can import whatever charts you want. You can select. So for example, if I want to select this, I want to also select this. I can say select the cards, and there you go. The dashboard is automatically getting ready. And that's why it's such an interesting tool, because it does a lot for you automatically. So it's a great tool for your second coursework, where you will do the full life cycle. And in the early stages, you will do a lot of graphs, you will explore and so on. This will get you the graphs directly, see which one is relevant, which one is important for what you're exploring. I can come back to explore, and that's where my data itself is. Oh. Okay, let's come back to the flow and let's start the quiz. Any questions anyone has? Ready to take the quiz? Okay. One final thing that you need to take the quiz is, if you go to important links, you will see a link called Data IQ quiz. Okay, that should take you to a form that you have to fill. And what you can do is, I can just tell you, one of the questions is, what's the difference between card one and card two? So get inside card one, get inside card two, see the two data sets on Data IQ, then answer this question. And then all the other questions are only for card two. Okay. So do it in Data IQ, answer the questions here. Do it in Data IQ, answer the questions here. Let's see who will score the maximum. All the best. Should not take more than 15-20 minutes. And then we discuss all the questions together. Quite easy, since nothing related to any AI modeling. It's just about how you observe data, how you see where the options are, how you see the count. Only the first question is difference between card 1 and card 2. Every question from then on is related to card 2 of the data set. Do it in Data IQ first and then find the answer in Data IQ and then put the answer here. And remember, the quiz is for you to learn Data IQ. So don't upload GPT and then have the answer. That doesn't serve the purpose. We'll keep a timer of 15 minutes max. 10 minutes should be okay. And then we'll discuss all the questions one by one. You put any number, don't put any commas, and even if you do, it should be okay, but just avoid. So if you're saying there are 3,000 rows, just put the actual number 3000. No words in those questions where numbers are asked. Okay. Okay. But even that, just be careful. That's not saying that works. Okay, I tell you know. Yeah. In fact, there is a small trick in the quiz, and the problem is if you know the trick, you'll get everything right. And if you miss out that small detail, everything might be wrong. So observe everything, see what data it is telling you, take right. I have seen before also. First class, okay, but you're there online. Anyone have done question 4? How many global groups are there? Huh? Okay. Anyone who got a different answer than 10,000 for the number of rows? Good answer? And don't worry, we will do all the questions together. I think it is much. After the timer goes out, whatever you have done, you just click submit, and then we revisit all the questions. Yes. Very smart that you read the last question. And remember, the quiz is only for you to get more familiar with data IQ. It's not the objective of doing a quiz per se, but the more you get comfortable with initial data handling, AI will become much more easier. That's why we are doing what we are doing today. Final 5 minutes. Whatever you finish, just click submit at the end of the time. See the scores. Final 3 minutes, and we start the discussions. Okay. Underscore person. How much is that for the person? Okay, last 1 minute. Get ready to enter whatever you can and then click submit. Any entries after the timer will not be considered. So I'll just. All right, so the time is up. Whatever you have done so far, click submit. I will check the backend quickly and then we will start all the questions with best practices one by one. So let me just check quickly if anyone has scored outstanding. Dawar Khan is here or online. 6, 4, 20.
Yes, hello.
Yeah, you have scored 6, which is good.
Thank you, sir.
Hifsa is here. Yeah, 7. Interesting.
Yeah, one of
Probably
them,
you got a clue of which questions were wrong. Okay. Yeah. So majority have got around 1, 2, 3, which is okay. And I told you there was a trick over here. And if you miss the trick, you probably miss almost every question. And I don't blame you, but that's more about understanding the software and observing a lot of things. Okay. So let's get started one by one. So let me put up the screen again. First of all, I'll share some of the best practices, some mistakes that I see some of you are doing, how to avoid those mistakes, and so on. So I'll share the screen now. All right. Now, first things first, everyone please stay together. Let's go one question by one question, and then see what we could have improved. First thing that I saw, and please pay attention, everyone. Hifsa. So one thing that I observed is some of you were actually relying on the statistics tab in order to do the graphs and finding the answers and so on. Now, this is something about as a good practice versus bad practice. When to use statistics tab versus when to use charts. Okay. Now, there are three things. If you can see the chart that you want to see in the explore column itself, then no need to go for anything else, right? For example, if you want to see the chart of FICO range, how do we see that in explore tab itself? Go to? No, I don't want to go to statistics. That's what I'm saying. Yeah, click on FICO range and click on analyze, right? So I can see sort of, a summary here itself. If I can see what I want to see, then why do I need to build charts? Of course, if there's a requirement of a graph and chart and all that, that's a different story. So first of all, I will try and get my answer, whatever I want to know about the data, from the explore tab itself. Second, if at all I actually want the chart, because in certain questions it was written that you need to draw a chart and you need to do that, I would build the chart from the charts tab instead of going for statistics tab. When do I go for statistics tab? When I have multiple charts, I want to build a dashboard and build the complete visual entity of the data. That's when I would prefer getting into statistics, because what charts allows me to do is I have all the variables here. I can just put something in x-axis, something in y-axis, choose the type of graph that I want, and then I can see the chart here. And even if you want multiple charts, you can just keep on clicking plus chart, plus chart, plus chart, and eventually convert that into a dashboard also. So all those options are there in charts, but I would use statistics when I want multiple charts at one go. I'm not sure of what charts I want to generate, so I want to get some suggestions. Only in that case, I would use statistics tab quite often, which I saw some of you are already in statistics tab. I mean, if you're comfortable, great, but why get into something more complicated when you have something precise and simple over here? That's first observation that I saw some of you were doing. Now, let's come to the first question. What is the difference between cards 1 and cards 2? Again, what I would do is double click on cards 1, look at how cards 1 looks like, and then go back to the flow, double click on cards 2, and then look at what cards 2 looks like. Can anyone tell me what is the first point of difference between cards 1 and integral? That's one. What else? How do you know there is a lot of blank data by first impression? Where do you see you actually saw it that there is blank or there is some other indicator? So my question is, do you see there are blanks here? That's why you assume there are blanks, or there's a better indicator at this point?
So we can go to formula.
No, without going anywhere. There is a great indicator right now in this view, which actually color difference. Now, I don't know if you notice this, every column on top, you see a green and a gray, okay? And this is not random coloring. This is actually the percentage of missing values. So wherever you see gray, that percentage of that column has blank data. Now, for example, if you see ID and you put your mouse pointer right here, you see it shows you the percentage. It shows you 9% is empty and 91% is okay. So just by looking at the green progress bar, you can understand where there are missing values and where there are not. So there is missing value in ID, there is missing value in active month, there is missing value in reward program, there is missing value in FICO range, FICO score, as well as cardholder's age. In all the columns, there is missing value. Now, if I ask you, are missing values in majority or minority? minority, because you see the gray everywhere is a small amount that you see, and it's reflective of the percentage of missing values versus okay data. And we can go back to cards 1 and see the green bar. There you go. You don't have to scroll down all the way to figure out where there are missing values, where there are not. Just have a look at all the green bars. Those are all 100%, which means none missing values in any of the columns. And that's a great first insight for an analyst. I don't have to go click every column to figure out which column has missing value, which column has not. Directly by looking at the color, I get that first impression. So that was the answer to the first question. In cards 2, almost every column has missing values, whereas in card 1, everything is 100%. Clear, everyone? Analyze the color code. Green versus gray will tell you whether it is missing or not. Now let's go to something important. Let's go to cards 2. And what was the first question? How many rows are there? Again, I saw a lot of different approaches. Some of you were doing graphs, some of you were doing total. Your approach was interesting, but again, quite longer method to arrive at the answer. Those who wrote 10,000, where did you get that information from? Yeah, so there you go, 10,000 rows and 6 columns. The unfortunate part is this answer is wrong. Now, I don't know if you notice something on top. It says, look, whatever you are looking at right now is only a sample of the data. It's not complete data. And it says you're looking at first 10,000 rows out of how many rows? We don't know, which means first let me compute that. And I'll tell you why Data IQ does that. But let's all click on the refresh button right now. And that's when you will get to know the exact number of rows, which I think you got it right because you saw the graph, you added up all the different categories. So 44,335 rows are there in this data set. What you are seeing is only 10,000. That doesn't mean the data itself has 10,000 rows. So never get blinded by the number. Always look here and check how many rows are you looking at. Now, here is my question. Why all this drama? I mean, it could have just given 44,000. It's not a big number. Why do you think it is showing you a sample 10,000 and things like that? Any guess? Why is the software doing anything like this? Like in Excel, if you open, you just open it. The entire data, I will not tell you that, oh, I'm only giving you a sample of the rows. Why do you think this is giving 10,000 rows as a sample? Any guess? Think. You will get the answer. No? What advantage do you get when you see less? In fact, there's no problem. You will assume that there's only 10,000 rows.
So to analyze it quickly.
That's correct. Not just to analyze quickly. Remember, this is a cloud version of the software, right? There is a server where it is hosted, and this is a cloud version. Even if you go for the actual internet-based data IQ, also these are all cloud versions, right? Now, with every possible snapshot, if it is giving you 45,000 rows and you're computing, you're calculating, you're preparing recipe, it's working on 45,000 rows. Okay. Now, what it does is it allows you to do whatever you want. So, you're doing processing, you're doing deletion, you're removing null values. You can do whatever you want. You can see the changes, whatever you're doing. And at the end, you can apply it on whole data. Right? So it doesn't say that, it's hidden or something. At the end, once all the steps are done, then at one go, apply it on all the data. So imagine those 20 steps that you took, which is replacing the missing values, applying the formula, replacing the null values with 0, etc., etc. All this drama can be quickly done on a smaller sample of data. And at the end, when you publish, it applies on the entire data set. So that's why when the data gets longer, Data IQ gives you a sample. However, Not always necessary. For example, let's say the data itself is 5,000 rows. Now, data IQ will not always sample and say, no, I'm showing you only 1,000 rows. 5,000 is something that it can handle at one go. So sometimes when the data is small, you will see the entire data. Sometimes when the data is large, keep an eye on, are you looking at sample or are you looking at the entire data set? So that was the answer to the second question. There are 44,335 rows in the entire data set. And if you miss this, probably you miss everything going ahead, okay? Because all the answers then that you see are representative of the sample, not reflective of the whole data. But let's do one by one. Now, what's the next question? In the cardholder age column, how many rows are missing from the card2 dataset? All right, let's see. Now, this is the age. Anything that I want to view, as I said, the first point of contact will be Explore tab itself. Don't go for charts or statistics. If you can get the answer here, why are you doing additional work? Anything which you want to know about a variable, about a column, always click on the column, click on Analyze, and you will see everything. Now it says there are 942 empty rows. Is that correct? That's the observation. Look at the top. It says all what you are seeing right now is based on the sample data, not on the entire data. And I would say, no, I don't want to see that picture. So I changed that sample to whole data. And then it will say, okay, if you want it on the whole data, what all do you want to be seen? Min, max, etc., is already on. Maybe you can switch on the median and IQR also. Everything you can just switch it on. And that's it. You can click save and compute. So now it will work on the entire data. So whatever statistics, whatever computation and all these things it is doing, it will do it on the entire data set. And that will take some time now because all of us are doing together. But otherwise, if you are 10 users doing it at one go, it will even do it more quickly. And now there are few more issues. But before we get into that, now let's click on categorical. And now it says there are 4,277 empty rows in H. But we still have problems. And what is the problem? That's right. Now, if you see numerical, it has not given me anything. It has not given me age. It has not given me, it has not given me median, minimum, maximum, etc. There are no numerical computations that I can see. And it also gives a reason that there is a problem in your data storage, because of which I cannot do all that computation for you, which means it's time to go back to our data and check how the data is stored. Okay. Now, do you understand the difference between the black and blue? So the black says it is string and the blue says it is decimal. Do you understand how data IQ does the color coding? What does black indicate? Originally, the data is stored as a string. It is being inferred as a decimal. So inference is not a problem. Yes, you can infer it as a decimal, but the problem is in the black, which means it should not be stored as a string. Now, there are again few things that you need to be a bit smart about. Ideally, given that this is age, how would you change string into? Let's see the options. If you click on string, what should be the most suitable data type for age? Should be integer, but now there is a problem. Because it interpreted as string, there are the decimal places already, dot zero, okay? And if you put integer where there is already a dot zero, then there might be a problem. So just to play safe, what you can do is choose between double or float, which are the decimal points. Double is generally used for longer decimal places. Float is generally used for smaller decimal places. And in this case, we don't expect longer decimal places. In fact, all the decimal places will be .0 because this is age. So I can choose float instead of string. And I can click on OK. If you want, you can do refresh sample also so that it applies on the sample. So now my stored data set is float. It is inferred as a decimal. Everything looks okay. And now if I go to age and analyze, you see all the results are ready. Now you see minimum, maximum, mean, median, standard deviation, everything that you need. And remember, this is still on sample data. So if you want on the whole data, again, you click on whole data, and then you can click on compute. Yeah. So you can click on compute and you can click on compute on this column and just rerun again. So you get other question answer also. I think there was one question which says, what is the median of age? So median is 44. There are 4,277 missing values in age. The mean age is 48.46. Minimum age is 18. Maximum age is 100. So any questions if anyone is asking regarding age, it is all right here. Anyone needs any help? Did not get this computation, let me know. Make sure you are doing it on whole data and not sample data. Sample is only 10,000 rows, so that's not what we want. We want on the entire data of 43,000. So 4,277 are empty, 40,000 are non-empty. All the statistics are available here. All good? Okay, now let's move to other questions. How many excellent values are there in FICO range? I think that's pretty straightforward. Mean of age we have already done. Median of age we have already done. Now let's come to this one. And everyone pay attention here. Draw a bar graph to show the count of FICO range and report the count of fair category. Okay. Now let's do this. So this is FICO range. Okay. Now, first of all, I don't need to draw the graph if analyze can tell me everything. So that is one way. But let's do the graph so that you also see in the charts how we can build the graph and how we can use some of the advanced features in the graph itself. So let's go and click on charts. All the fields are here. You can choose the type of the graph that you want. A lot of options are available. You have pivot table, you have bar graph, you have donut, pie, mix, KPIs, everything, just like Power BI. But again, I wouldn't rate Data IQ amazing from a dashboard point of view. Power BI still remains useful. But given Data IQ does everything else, you can do the dashboards also inside Data IQ. So it's like a one platform solution. But independently for visualization and for graphs, Power BI still remains number one too. Okay. So let's keep the default vertical bars. And let's say in the x-axis, we do FICO range. I'll just drag and drop. And in the y-axis, there is a field called count of record. So it will count for each category. So I will put count in y. So that gives me a nice graph of how many are there in each. And if I put my mouse pointer on individual graph, I will get to see the numbers. So fair is 946, excellent is 2261. But is this the correct graph? That's correct. So you see what it says. This is sample of 10,000 records. I just want to see if everyone has got the graph right. Yeah, okay, all good, all good. Okay, good here. Nice. Fantastic. You look very comfortable. This is good. So the only thing you need to be careful is it says, be careful. This is not the actual graph. This is sample, and it's giving that warning. And the sample is 10,000 records. And obviously, once I know this is sample, let's click on sample and see what are the options for the sample. Okay. Now, the moment you click on sample, it is saying use the same sample as explore. When we were in explore, what was the sample? 10,000, right? So it says use the same sample as explore. I would say no, don't use the same sample. So let me remove this. I would say no, don't use the same sample. Then it says, okay, if you don't use the same sample, what is the sampling method that you want to use? Can anyone suggest? No sample. And that's why I said I want whole data. And now you can save and refresh. And now your data changes, your chart changes, and now you can see 44,335. That's why it's important to know how many rows are there. So you know what kind of a graph you are seeing. Are you seeing it for a sample data? Are you seeing it for the entire data? And now can anyone tell me how many are there in the fair category? Let's check. 4313, that's right. By the way, you can also change a lot of formatting of the graph. So if you click on format, there is a values tab which you can switch on. So you can put the values on the graph itself. You can change the color. You can have grid lines. You can have all the formatting that you want with the graph. All those options are always there. And now let's hit the last one, which is, okay, for the same question, they are asking to do a sample of first 20,000 records and then answer the same question. Can you do this and tell me now? So what I want is it's the same graph, but it should be on first 20,000 rows and then report how many? 1975. Is everyone getting that? Yeah, perfect. You guys are amazing already. So let's check. I would say instead of no sampling, I would go for first records and I would go for first 20,000 records. And then I can save and refresh. 1975 is the correct answer. Again, you see the warning comes again because this is again a sample data graph that you are looking at. And now it's complete. And why this sampling is very important, because as we go further in AI modeling, we'll do a lot of sampling. So we'll have a test data, train data, we'll randomly select, sometimes we'll sequentially select. So there are a lot of methods of sampling, and it's good to kind of understand that sampling scenario right now. So this makes me pretty happy. I think last week all of you were focusing, so you're pretty comfortable. I don't have to help anyone much. What we will do now is we'll take a break. Once we come back, we will do something interesting. Just your final touch on data IQ. You remember the bank exercise which we did? Yeah. We will repeat the exercise on data IQ. We'll do task one, task two, pivot tables, everything inside data IQ. And again, we'll understand some of the minor things which will make you even better with data handling. And once you're done with that, you're good with data handling, importing, etc. And we can start the AI modeling part. Any questions from anyone? All good? All right. So close to 10:45, sharp 11, we'll be back. Okay. Thank you. Attendance, I had put you're late. Okay. So after the session. Yeah.
Okay.
Hmm.
The last question.
Right. Okay. Okay.
Because during the sampling, I can take the whole data.
Okay.
So what I did is I went to the y-axis and instead of
Okay.
then I changed to 20K.
And it was first 20K? Maybe it was, that's the thing, yeah. Because if it is different 20K, then the answer will be
The answer is
same. Okay, so then it's fine. So it would have taken the first 20K
Is
then.
there a chance that next time I do it with another data, it might turn out wrong?
No, no, it's exactly the same. So if it is taking first 20K, it's the same. Good that you explored that.
The one I verified as I thought about, because you know, that's why he was this one. Come back.
If you have a premium version, but I don't think you install paper and you go with both ways, like that, you will find out. It won't happen, like. It will give you no details at which. What is the and it's there's no like you don't go for this. If it's around 80 years, it was
That's why we can now.
All right, shall we get started?
Changes the. It changes the price. The result was like for one minute, for only a. I also see the.
All right, welcome back everyone from the break. We will resume the second part, which is quite familiar to you. We have already done that in week 1, but now we'll be doing it in Data IQ so that you understand a bit more features of Data IQ and where it is doing some tricks so that you understand everything. How do we prep for this is in the week 1 folder, you would see bank data new. So you can download that file again. It's the same data set that we have used earlier. So you're quite familiar with that. So bank data new is the file that you'll be downloading. Also on Data IQ, I would recommend making a new project in the same folder. So just go to your folder and make a new project, call it bank project or bank data. And you can also import your new bank data and then we'll get started. So if you can keep your flow ready so that I can see if you have. Find your folder first, right at the bottom. Inside the folder, make a new project, call it bank project or whatever, and then just import your data. Keep your flow ready.
So, if you do the schema thing right now.
No, later. So once everyone is ready, then I'll further answer that. Keep the flow ready so that I can see bank data. Flow. Right after the break. Maybe 12 and.
Good.
Two more minutes for everyone to settle in. Is everyone ready? Are we waiting for anyone? Just give me a minute. Okay, now a few things. Some of you were asking, do we always like when you import the data, you have the schema right at the start, and there's an opportunity to make some changes over there. So my approach to data IQ would always be the opposite, and please listen to it very carefully because I don't want you to waste a lot of time by making sure everything is perfect. As and when we go on, if you feel something is not perfect, then is the right time to make a change. And let me give you an example. For example, you got this data and there are like 30 columns in this data set, let's say. Now, if you start thinking about each column, whether it is the perfect data type, the inference is correct, and then go to the second column, third column, you're wasting a lot of time in terms of making everything perfect before you move on. I would say that as and when you go on, observe if a certain column is causing any problems to you. And then once you are here in the explore or the prepare recipe, you can always make changes at any point of time. So my first strategy is usually the opposite. I import it first, make it ready, and then as and when needed, you can make whatever changes are required. And I'll give you an example of that. Let's start with one task and let me see if you notice there is any problem or not. So let's click on bank data and you would see a column if you scroll towards the end, which is the balance scale average. Okay. Have a look at that column, which is called balance scale average. Do you notice this column? Yeah. Now, what is this? Basically, I think it's a rating of 1 to 5, where 1 indicates that the customer generally is keeping a very low balance, and 5 indicates that they are keeping a very high monthly average balance. So that's what the rating does. Now, your task is to create a chart, a graph, actual graph, where it shows the count of each category. For example, how many customers are there with scale of 1? How many customers are there with scale of 2? How many customers scale of 3, 4, and 5? Can you make that graph in the chart section, not in the statistics section? So get into the chart section, choose any type of graph. The default one is okay. And what I want to see is the count of customers with each rating. How many customers in 1, how many customers in 2, 3, 4, and 5. And if you do it, just let me know. Should be straightforward. Done? Okay. I shall it. Yeah, all good. This looks good. Done. Perfect. Also, can you tell me, are we looking at a sample here? Are we looking at the whole data? Whole data, because it's 9,551, less than 10,000. So we are not involved in any sampling problem over here. But let me tell you, in spite of getting the right answer, where there is an issue. For those who couldn't do, let's do it together. If you go to charts and I choose vertical bars itself, that's not a problem. And what I can do is put balance scale average in x-axis. Oh, it's already there. I'll just delete it. 1 minute. Okay, so I'll put balance scale average in x-axis and I'll put count of records in y-axis. Okay, everyone has got this graph. Anyone who's not, please let me know. Now, if anyone is asking, okay, what are these numbers? I can always put the values and I can say 4,444 in the first category, 3,113 in second, 1,400 and so on. So there are a total of 4 categories. Okay. However, there is a problem with the graph. What is that problem? That's correct. That's right. Now, this is where you start understanding that there is a problem. And remember, this can become a problem further if you involve this variable in AI modeling and so on, because right now, data IQ is assuming your balance scale average to be something like integer or decimal. And that's why you see it sort of clubbing 1 to 1.3, 1.3 to 1.6, blah, 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 which does not make sense. That's not the kind of graph that you are expecting. And this is what I want you to notice. When you see the results, observe, is this the kind of graph that you actually want, or there is a better way? What is the actual kind of graph that you are expecting? How should the graph really look like, if not like this? That's correct, on a scale, right? So it should show how many in 1, how many in 2, how many in 3, how many in 4. This clubbing and this numeric, decimal and all that indicates that there is a potential problem. The moment you understood there's a potential problem, let's go back to explore. Okay, and let's look at that column which says balance scale average. Okay, can anyone tell me which one, the string to be changed as integer? Anyone else? Good guess. Now, this is where we should start thinking. What are these numbers? 1, 2, 3, 4. The ratings, correct? But are,
Okay.
sorry?
Yeah.
No, it is the rating which is given. 1, 2, 3, 4 are the rating numbers which are given.
Maybe it should be changed in tiny.
Okay, anyone else? That is one way of doing that, which means change the way the graph is interpreting. That is definitely one way. But before that, now let's look at a more fundamental question here, and that's why all of you should understand data types in data IQ. Now remember, 1, 2, 3, 4. It's a sort of a bit controversial column here, because someone would say that, yeah, this is numeric because you can calculate the average of these numbers. But someone could say, no, these are ratings. 1, 2, 3, 4 are ratings. 1 is a different category, 2 is a different category, 3 is a different category, and 4 is a different category. Ideally, this is a categorical way. There are 4 categories: rating 1, rating 2, rating 3, and rating 4. However, in data IQ, there is no such data type called categorical. Let's have a look. So if I look at string and check what are the options, There is something called Boolean, but that's different. Why? What is Boolean? Anyone knows what type of data type it is? 0 or 1, yes or no, win or lose. So in that type, Boolean is okay. But here there are 4 categories: category 1, category 2, category 3, and category 4. And in general, you do not find a categorical data type for things like this. And what data IQ suggests is if you are treating them as categories, retain them as strings, no problem. Which means 1 is a different category, 2 is a string, different category, 3 is a string, different category, 4 is a string, different category. Retain this as string and we will take care of the categories. Okay. So, which means the original stored data type as string is actually correct. There's no problem. The problem lies in the way data IQ is interpreting that. Now, this is where the platform actually is smart. If you look at it, though the stored type is string, because these are numbers, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, it is saying that I will infer it as numerical. I will infer it as integer because these are numbers. Now, it depends on the use case. Let's say if you believe that in future you would need something like the average of all customers rating scale, which means 1, 2, 3 different values are there. If at all you would need, let's say mean, median, and things like that, retain it as integer. Okay. But in this case, I don't see a need. I don't see that I'll be using them for average calculations and things like that. So I would ask data IQ, don't interpret it as integer. You stored it as string, interpret it also as a string, which means these are clearly 4 categories: category 1, category 2, category 3, and category 4. There are no rights and wrong here. So you can argue, no, this is not a string, and I would want later on. It depends on the use case. So and that's why I'm saying right at the start, you cannot build the schema because you need to understand in which context you are doing. Some things are straightforward. If it is, let's say age, it is an integer. You can't make it as a string. But in some cases, you have to use your judgment on how should data IQ store it and how should data IQ interpret it. Right now, storage is not a problem, but it is interpreting it as integer. And because it interpreted as integer, it started clubbing those values. You saw on the x-axis 1 to 1.3, 2 to this, and so on. I don't want that to happen. I will inform data IQ that you stored it as string, you also interpret it as string. And when I say string, categories, because in data IQ, string and categorical is the same. So let's change that and make that integer to text, which is string version of interpretation. So stored as a string, interpreted as a text, that means I'm looking at clear categories of columns. And now when I go to chart, and I can delete, you should see something in, or you can make a new chart if you want, up to you. So if you make a new chart, then let's drag balance scale average on X and count of records on Y. And now let's see how it comes up with the graph. I'll just refresh. There you go. So now these are clear categories, no clubbing of 1 to 1.5, no clubbing of 2. Just delete the ones if you're doing it on the same chart. If it's on a new chart, just refresh and build a new chart. These are all clear categories. There are 4 categories: category 1, category 2, category 3, as well as category 4. So that is a use case on where you see something wrong, then you go back, change the data type. So at any point of time, you can change the data type, you can change the inference, see as you go, take your own judgment on what is right, what is wrong, and then proceed accordingly. Is everyone ready for the first task? Now we'll just repeat the task which we did earlier. Let me remind you of the first task. And again, for every task, you can just click on new chart. And if you're wondering where do you do pivot tables in Data IQ, there you go. If you click on the type of the chart as pivot tables, everything is the same. Rows, columns, values, exactly what we did. Anyone remembers the first task in bank data? It was pivot table. Which one was the first task that we did? We had the list of cities, and what were we calculating for each city? Average of customer rating. Let's go ahead and do that. I want list of cities, Dubai, Abu Dhabi, London, etc. For each city, I want the average of customer rating in the form of pivot table, and pivot table is already there in front of you. Let's see who can make it. Remember, the concept remains the same: rows, columns, values. When you build your table. Sorry. So you need to make a list of cities, and for each city, the average of customer rate. Yeah. What's the first one? The rate is actually 4.3. Just one added task over there. See the whole list. This complete. Can you find Delhi in the list? Done. Make it pivot table. No charts. Exactly pivot table. So in the chart, use pivot table as an option. Put the right thing in the row, put the right thing in the column, put the right thing in the values. If you remember what we did in pivot tables. And if you think you have done it, find New Delhi in the list. Maybe you won't be able to. That is correct, yes. Find Delhi, Delhi in the list. That's a problem. Let's see. No problem. Yeah, that's right. But just see if you can spot Delhi in the list. Yes. Sorry. No, you don't need columns here. It's only the list and the values. So there are no columns. Remember, there is only one set of values that you're seeing. So you don't have columns here. You have rows and you have the values. Lubna, thank you. Yes, that looks good, but New Delhi is missing. Did anyone spot New Delhi and could make any changes by which New Delhi is seen? Okay, interesting. New Delhi is seen. Nice. Yeah, nice. Correct. You're getting a hang of it. I'm quite happy. Let's do it together. So, first of all, what should, again, the concept of the pivot remains the same, irrespective of whether you're doing it in Excel or if you're doing it in Data IQ. So first, I would say, what do I want in each rows? What do I want in each row? City. So let me drag city to rows. Done and dusted. There is only one set of values, so no columns here, no multiple columns, so nothing in columns. What do I put in value? Customer rating. So let's take customer rating, put it in the value. And very smartly, obviously, you expect Data IQ to be smarter than Excel. So by default, it understood that average makes more sense. So it has already done average for you. But if at all you want anything other than average, then just click on these options. Okay, whatever, wherever you want to change, you see the function is average. You can change that to whatever you want, mean, median, maximum, etc., etc. So everything, all things related to that particular column comes in value. So average is okay. I don't want to change anything. The only problem is if you scroll down, this is what it has done. And again, this is data IQ being smart. So what it understood is there's a long list of cities, okay? And it doesn't make sense to put all the list of cities in the entire table. So what it has done is after Bogor, it has put others and combined all the other cities. And that's why you don't see anything beyond that city because all the other cities have been combined and the combined average is 2.62, whatever that number is. And that's data IQ being smart, but does not serve our purpose. I want the full list of cities. I want every city to reflect the average calculation. And this is not something that I want. In some cases, you might want it. You might say, oh, great feature. You have clubbed, all the remaining values. The table doesn't become long. So in a way, it has used its AI features to sort of make the table much more better. And the same concept remains. Anything that you want to change, you will find it in the options. Now, I know something has happened in city, which means if I look into the options of city, I will find. That's correct. Now, there are two things. Now listen very carefully. One option that you see, which is enabled, is group extra values as others. Okay. Now, I can first of all remove that. I don't want it. Okay. Which means don't do this grouping into others. I don't want. And then maximum display values. How many values do you want to see in that table? I'm not sure how many cities are there. I can just put 10,000 because anyway, the number of cities will be less than 10,000. So you put a bigger number and that's it. It will reflect. Now the entire table is right in front of you. Anyone who has not got it, let me know. So if I look into the table, and look into New Delhi, the score is 2.43, which, if you remember, we said it is wrong. Anyone remembers why this 2.43 is wrong? No, there was something else. No, not empty values, zero values, which is called not rated. Currently, they were included in the calculations, and we said no, we cannot include those zero values because they are not numerical values zero. They actually represent not rated, and they should be excluded, which is your next task. Now, can you figure out where do I exclude? Which option can I use to remove those not rated and then calculate the value of New Delhi? Done? What's the new value for New Delhi? 3.29. That's correct. You mean? Yes. If you have done it, you should see the new score of New Delhi will be 3.29. Done? No? The option is right there in front of you. Look here, filters and tooltip. You can spot the filters option. That's all what you need. And you can put rating text as one of the filters and then remove not rated. Let's do it. So everyone have a look here. If you see pivot table, there are two options, setup and format. In setup, you have filters. And what I can do is drag the rating text to filters. And there you go. So right now, everything is included in the calculation. I would say, please remove not rated. I don't want that in the calculation. And that's it. Your new values are now does not include not rated as one of the parameters. So use those filters. Just find the option. Data IQ is all about this. Find the right place where you can do the right thing. Otherwise, there's no rocket science. It's all quite self-intuitive. Anyone who needs help, I'll give you 2 minutes to just digest everything which is there before I give the next task. Ready? Is everyone ready? Shall we move on to the next one? Okay, tell me this. Last week, have you covered prepare recipe and formulas? Okay, it's a test of that now. Let's go back. Now, here is a thing. And by the way, this activity which you're going to do next, it is called feature engineering. If you remember, I had mentioned this word, which means there is a column. And using that column, I'm trying to derive one more column. That process is known as feature engineering because I'm deriving more features from what is already existing. Now, what feature am I talking about? Let's have a look. Which one shall we work on? Okay, let's work on this one, the customer rating itself. All of you can spot this column, customer rating credit score. Okay. Now, here is a task that you need to do. You need to create a new column called new rating. I repeat, you need to create a new column called new rating. And how should you create this column? Whichever values of customer rating are greater than or equal to 3, you should label them as good. I repeat, whichever customer rating has the rating greater than equal to 3, you should label them as good. The other ones, you should label them as bad, which means I should have a new column here with only two values, good or bad. Good are the ones where the rating is greater than equal to 3. Bad are the ones, other ones. Let's give a shot. This would need prepare recipe. This would need formulas, slightly complicated. You can't do it in the explore stage. So you'll have to go back to flow and start your prepare recipe. And by the way, these are the places where you can actually take help of ChatGPT or GenAI. Let's say you don't know the formula, and you can always say, I'm trying to do something in data IQ. Give me the formula where I need to put some if condition and put that formula in the right place. So condition was greater than equal to 3. If it is greater than equal to 3, then good. Otherwise, you should label it as bad. Anyone?
The prepare recipe. Okay, so you can go to you want this and then you can some.
Yes.
Good. So anything greater than equal to 3 will be good. Else it is bad.
If you're not comfortable with prepare recipe, then we'll do it together. So don't, I would recommend not trying that because you'll mess up few things. If you're not comfortable, just stay for 5 minutes. We'll do step by step. I'll tell you the best way to do it. Yeah.
This is what? Yes. If it doesn't not rating, then it is good. And it's required. Yeah, perfect. Makes sense. Done.
Yeah.
It looks correct. Yes. 2 is bad. Perfect. Sure.
Done.
Nice.
All right, guys, let's do it together. Also, I just want to make sure that you visualize what you're doing correctly. It's not just about achieving the task. So everyone, please pay attention here. Everyone, here, we are doing it together. So first things first, it's very important to know for which data are you selecting the right recipe. Okay. Right now, there is only one data, so it's not very much important, but there is a possibility that there are 3 or 4 data sets. So you need to click on this data, single click first, this flow, so that the options would open up. Okay. And now what it says, what do you want to do with this data? Do you want to prepare? Do you want to split it? Do you want to join? Do you want to do top N, etc., etc.? You decide the kind of recipe. Any data manipulation that you have to do, it is always in prepare recipe. Anything that you want to change, replace the missing values, add another column, delete the null values, etc., etc. Everything comes in data preparation recipe. So what I would do is I would click on this first, then I would click on prepare recipe. And basically, this is what it is asking you. This is the data that it will take and what is the new data set that you want to make. You can give any name that you want. By default, it says prepared data. You can keep the default name, no problem. And then enter into create recipe. Okay. Now, to be comfortable with the create recipe, what I want you to do is right at this stage, go back to the flow. Right at this stage, go back to the flow and you see what is happening to your data. There was a data, you applied prepare recipe and it resulted in a new data set. Why do you think this new data set is ... and not like this? It's not complete. We have not run it. We have not made any changes. It's right now in a preparation state. Once we finish the preparation and run it, this will also become something like this. Okay. And now the good part is you can go to any place you want. If you double click the prepare recipe, you will enter into prepare recipe. If you double click on this, you will enter into the prepared data set. So the flow gives you a great idea of where you are in your journey. That's why I say constantly build this practice of going back to the flow, understanding where you are. So right now I can say, okay, there was an original data set. I did the recipe and I'm about to get a new data set, which is the prepared one. Now to make any changes, where do you think I'll go now? Prepare recipe. So I can just double click on that and get into the prepare recipe. Okay. Now hold on at this stage because I want you to understand what these things are. Now, this perhaps is the most beautiful feature of data IQ, and I'll tell you why. What happens is you can do similar things in Excel, not all the things, but at least half of the features, formulas and everything you can do. But the problem in Excel is there is no way to keep track of all the transformations that you have done. So for example, you created a new one, then you did this, then you applied, then you changed the data type. Excel can maximum let you undo what you have done, but nothing like a sequential track. Here, the game is completely different. Every small change that you do to your data it will appear as steps. Step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4. And the good part is at any point of time, you realize, oh, whatever I did in step 1 was actually not required. Great, just delete step 1. The other steps are still there in your entire history. At any point of time, you realize that, oh, when I was making that new column, instead of greater than equal to 3, it should have been greater than 3. No problem. Go to that step, modify that step, and then come back to publishing your data. So your entire history of steps would appear here. The good part is these changes are not done till you click run. It is still in experimental stage. And again, the good part is you did step 1, step 2, step 3, and you realize no, step 3 should be done first, step 1 should be done later. You can rearrange the sequence of the steps. The entire history of data manipulation comes as separate windows. Step 1 is a window, step 2 is a window, 3 is a window. You can do the sequencing of that, you can modify that, you can keep on playing till you press the run button. Nothing will happen to your data. That's a great way to do data transformation. Remember, even if you click run and it applies the changes, you can still come back and you can remove one of the steps and say, no, I don't want this in my journey, and you can republish the data. That's why data IQ is so powerful, because the entire data manipulation, data preparation stage in the life cycle is actually captured as step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4, and so on. So let's get started. Now, there are multiple ways of doing this. So first, let's say if which column was that for which I had mentioned customer rating, right? Now there are two ways. Either you start from here, okay? Which way did you see last week? Add a new step, right? So this is one way that you add a new step, choose what you want to do, what kind of transformation. Sometimes I actually prefer going from here because there's less of a complication. Why? Because I know that currently I'm going to deal with this column, right? So maybe if I find the right option in the column itself, then I can avoid going to add a new step and I can do from there. So both are essentially the same, but it's just about where you're starting with. Let me show you. So let's click on customer rating and see the options on what sort of transformation can you do. It says you can round it off to integer. Let's check on more actions. What all transformation? You can have a duplicate column. You can find and replace if you want to, and so on and so forth. Which one do you think I'm going to apply now? Conditional process with formula, or conditional formatting will only label it. With formula, I can actually create a new variable. So I will go for this option, which is process with formula. It is exactly the same if you go with this also, but I always prefer going to the column and then choosing the option, whichever suits you. So I would say click on process with formula. And what I want you to know, or what I want you to notice, this card has been created. This is one step in your journey, and I actually want you to feel that step. So what you can do is, if you see this, you see it moves as a card, right? So step 1 is a different card, step 2 is a different card, step 3 is a different card, and you can change the order of the cards. You can put step 2 down. Right now, there is only one step, so we don't have multiple steps. As and when we keep on adding, these are all your modification cards. And every card has the information that you need to. And in this case, now I will click on Open Editor Panel because I need to put some formulas here. Now, let me check. First of all, it says, what's the name of the output column? New customer rating, right? Output column. Where do you want the customer, the new column to be created? So I would say new column is the name, new rating, let's say, is the name of my new column that I'm trying to create. Now, be very careful here. if I did not change this, what do you think will happen? Correct. So it will replace the values of good and bad on the same column, which I don't want, right? I don't want to disturb the original column. That's why I've given a new name to the column, which is called new rating. Now, let's come to this part, which is the formula. Now, generally what I do is I just delete whatever is there. Okay. Don't use anything which is there. And intuitively, we start building the formula. Now, there are multiple ways. And listen very carefully. Method number one is try and understand the formula. For example, you know which formula is going to apply here. Which formula is it? If, yes, right? So I start typing if and I take help from data IQ and I complete my formula. Method number one. Method number two, go to GPT. And that's why I said in your hackathon, in your everything, this is allowed. This is perfect way of making your work smarter. You go to GPT, you go to Claude, and you say, I'm working on data IQ. I'm trying to convert this column into this, and any value greater than 3 equal to 3 should be good, else it should be bad. Can you give me the exact formula that I can use right here? Okay. The only disadvantage is if you misspell something, the variable name might be here and there. So you have to be a bit careful. That's method number two. Method number three is what you will curse me for, because I'm not enabling that option right now, but I will enable it in your hackathon. Now, what is that option? Perhaps the most mind-blowing option that Data IQ has. If I enable that option for all of your accounts, you will have a text prompt here. And you just have to type in English what you want. So let's say if you type, oh, I want all the customer ratings greater than 3 to be good, else bad, that's it. Then and there, it will convert into an actual formula and it will plug that. So you don't need to know any formula. Any transformation. So let's say you're thinking about, okay, all the NA values should be replaced by 0 and others should just type it in English. It's an AI prompt that appears right here in this step. You put it in English, click enter, it will translate into formula, and then you can directly use it. But I don't want you to get used to it right now. I want you to build formulas and then use AI features a bit later. And I'm telling you that you will use it and you'll appreciate it much because that's where the future is going, right? So no need to remember any formulas. You still have a lot of options, okay? But right now, let's assume I don't have any help. I can start typing if. And you see, it's already sort of helping me with the syntax. And what was the name of the column? Customer rating, right? See, when I'm typing customer rating, it's pulling out the list, which is great. I don't have to type in the exact column name and so on. So I can just choose and let me zoom in. Okay. So if customer rating, just click on that so that it automatically fills everything for you. Once again, if you want, I can show you the whole thing. Let's say if nothing is there, I'll just delete it. I would say if I would start typing and I would say if customer rating, and the moment I type, it shows me all the fields. I'll click customer rating. And then I can say this greater than equal to 3, comma, and see it's helping me with the syntax. If condition, comma, what should come when it is true, comma, what should come when it is false. As simple as that. What do you think it should come when it is true? Good. And because good is a string, always use double quotes. So I would use double quotes and put it as good, comma. Now is the else part. I would put it as bad. And the mind-blowing feature here is as and when you're typing, you're seeing a preview over here just to make sure that are you going in the right direction, and you see 4.8, 4.5, all these are above 3. So they have been converted into good already. That means my formula is working. Without even applying that formula, you get a nice preview of what is there. And if anyone is still not clear, let me just put it in a Word document. There you go. This is what I have typed in. So you just have to type customer rating. It will pick up everything on its own. Only thing you need to do is put a greater than equal to 3, comma. If it is true, then good, comma. If it is false, then bad. And just make sure that your preview looks correct. And once you're satisfied that preview is looking good, it says formula is valid, there is no bracket, comma, error. If there's any error, it will not put a tick mark over there. If everything looks good, just click on apply. And that's it. And let's see if it's actually reflected on the data. There you go. You can check it. Yeah. I can help. Those, yeah. Maybe some comments here. So if oh, you can close the protection. Good. Then yeah. Yes. Sorry. Okay. Yes. Shall I delete this one? Okay, so can I delete this? It's not there. So last time when we did it, you applied it on the same plunge. So it has already become good or bad with the it was already done in your case, but that's not what is needed because you don't replace the existing one. So you can do you replace. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Yeah, that's right. Correct, because now it has already been. Yeah. Then just write. Yes. Yeah, I'm fine on. So let's say if I was doing add new step and not this method. Correct. Anything you can do. There are a lot of things. So for example, if condition is here, there you go. Create if then else statement. And then you can say if customer ID contains this, that is one method. There should be another method of just a formula. Just a minute. Yeah, so there you go. Formula. So if you click add new step, if you click on formula, you enter into the same thing. Exactly the same. So what you can do is in the output column, just name it as, let's say, new rating, and then open the editor panel, and that's it. You type your formula here. So in the new step, formula is the one, or if else, that is also possible, where you can play with if else and then add that as a step. Multiple options. There could be. So in the if else also, let's have a look there. So in this, let's check if yeah, it probably wouldn't give you no missing output column name. Yeah, there you go. So you have add column. You can add a new column and say new rating. You can try with this. In the new column of the if could possibly work. Original column should not change. Then part, correct. So if part is the original column, if customer rating is greater than equal to 3, in the then part, you say new rating is good, new rating is bad, and so on. So you can either choose an existing one or add a new one there. So both options are.
So the better one. Previous one, right?
Better version would be
Yeah,
previous
you can
one.
ask AI to help.
Exactly, yeah.
And in this, if you.
In this, you have to manually feed in everything. Correct. So with the formula AI, when you prompt, it will just make a formula directly. Much better, much better. Also, guys, if you have everyone, please pay attention. Now that you see, I have done multiple steps. So you can see this was the first one. This is the second one. This is the third one. I can delete whichever step is not needed. So I will delete the other ones and I'm ready with only the first one. Let's just experiment if you have understood this right correctly. Before you do run, let's do one more transformation with the same effects. You see the balance scale average, everyone? Yeah. So what I want you to do, if the balance scale average is 4, then the new column should say excellent, else it should say average. If it is 1, 2, or 3, the text version of that should be average. If it is 4, then it should be excellent. Let's see if you can do that. So create a new column called new balance scale average. If the balance scale average is 4, exactly 4, then it is excellent, else it is average. 4 is excellent, only 4 as a value is excellent. Everything else is average. Let's see. Complete that. Done? Okay. What did you need the new column? New, okay, and this is average. This over is excellent. Else it is average. That's fair. Good job. Done. Perfect. Make sure you can see the new column picture where only the 4 should be reflected as excellent. Everything else should be average. Ali, can you help us with the option? Did you go for new step or did you click on the column? New step. Okay. And formula? Okay, 1 minute. So I'll go for new step. I'll click on formula. I'll use the other way now. New step option. You can choose anyone that you want. Now it says, what is your output column? I would say balance new, balance scale new. And I can open the editor panel. And I can say if balance scale average is equal to excellent, no, sorry, is equal to 4, then it is excellent, else it is bad. Oh, sorry, average. Yep. By the way, in data IQ, you use equal to 4, not single equal to. That could be an error. And again, that's where ChatGPT could be great, where you can say, what is the formula? So I'm saying if the balance scale average is equal to 4, then it should be excellent. Else it should be average. It's perfectly reflecting in my sample output, looks good. My formula is also valid. Everything looks good. I can click on apply. So this is the second transformation that we have done. If else one is also fine. As far as it's working, any method that suits you, you're good to go. Anyone who has not done the second step before we move on to the third transformation step? Pavi, please have all good? Okay, let's see. So balance PMU, this is fine. Here balance PMU, yeah, is then it's excellent, comma, continue. Else it is.
Actually, practice.
So you need the balance. Just click on apply and then come back to the step. So you see how my screen looks like, everyone, please have a look. That mini card that you see was the first one that I did. The big card is the current one that I'm doing. So that's step 2 in my transformation. And we will do one more step before we run everything and apply all the transformation. So let's say, okay, we will solve the problem. Everyone pay attention. We'll solve the problem of zeros in a very different way. And this is your next task. You remember when we had that customer rating, which is credit score. Yeah. There were a lot of zero values. And what did those zero values indicate? Not rated, right? It was not that the rating was 0. They were actually representing not rated. So here is your task. As a bank, I'm telling you, why do you put zeros in here? Can you replace all zeros with NR, which means the entire column looks as it is. Wherever there is a 0, you replace that with NR, which is not rated. Go ahead. That in customer rating. That?
Yes.
Okay, good. Perfect, nice. And how many values are there for NR? Sorry, 2, 1, 4. NR, perfect, nice. Let's have it. So, like this. Yeah. Can we please? This is which one? Which values? This is also ready. Then you do balance scale average. Right here. Balance. No, not really. Yeah, that's the other case. Automatically. It's equal to. Excellent. Yes. Okay.
keep it moving.
Yeah. Done? Did you highlight or did you change to it? You changed, right? Okay. So which option did you use to do this? Okay, so let's see what are the options in credit rating. Which action did you take? Analyze. Okay. Categorical. And then you change here. Ah, okay. Interesting. Anyone did any other way? Yep. Find and replace. That's also amazing option. So if you go to more actions, you have find and replace, which works very well. So in this case, what I would do is I would not change anything in the sense of output column, and I would not name it a new one. And then replacement, I will add a replacement. So I would say replace 0 with NR. And that's it. Let's check. And yep. Let's check. Let's check. There you go. So it has now started reflecting NR for all the 0 values. And that's my step 3. So I will just show you. This is step 1. This is step 2. This is step 3. By whichever way, if you want to achieve, if you go to analyze, you want to change 0 to NR, that's fine. You can use find and replace. That's also an option. Now, can you tell me, everyone, can you tell me why do you see NR in red? So, yeah, I changed it to text, but what red generally means there's a problem. And why does it think NR is a problem? Let's see. Here is your answer. So it is stored as double, which means it is stored as a decimal point number. And suddenly when a text comes inside decimal point number, then it says, sorry, this cannot be the case. So here is a question to you. How can I make this still go ahead with the same philosophy? I still want NR to be there.
String,
Change the double to what?
string,
String. And let's try string. And the interpretation as
integer. No, decimal.
interpretation as integer won't be correct. No. Okay, let's see double. So you mean the stored as double? Okay, stored as double and interpreted as text. Yeah, that's perfect. So which means what I'm doing is wherever NR is coming, because there is a string, you can interpret it as text, but the original data type is a number, which is double. So that is one way of taking care of it. And again, the message that I want to convey is on the go, you need to take these decisions, right? Wherever you're facing a hurdle, you say, okay, this is what it is. I can change the stored data type like this, the interpretation like this, and I can still continue. And once you have done all the steps, just look at those boxes. This is step 1, this is step 2, this is step 3. The good part in data IQ, you can rearrange the order. You can bring step 1 right at the end. You can take step 3 and put it at the first. So you can change the order of sequence in which you are doing the transformation. In this case, they are independent of each other, but in certain cases, you want to do something first, then something second, then something third. So the rearranging is a great way to check. The interesting part is in complex projects, when there are thousands of transformations that you're doing, you can also search the transformation that you did. You see, there's a search step option, which gives you an option to figure out where you have made what changes. It's an ultimate tool to keep track of all the changes. And now it's time to run this across my data set. And now I would say, look, I've done everything and it's time to run. All of you are also running. So you see all the jobs starting over there. And if I have to verify if it is done or not, I will go back to my flow and I will check if my new data is ready or not. And I would double click the new data and get inside the prepared data set to see if it is ready or not. Yep, everything is good. New rating is there. Balance scale new is there. Everything is there. And you're back to the flow. Anyone who has not reached need help?
So I think the value should not, because now this is just very the whole game. You can automatically pick up, so just very to. Just start typing. Yeah. Yeah, because of all of us are running together. But yeah, it's one. Okay, let's go. Okay, let's extend this one. So it says this is what you are checking. It is the checking box. That's what That's the apex possible. If this is there, what is it? But you can have multiple cases, okay? Like inside the group part, you can have another impact with the impact, and inside the false part, you can have another impact. And so that also if there's a condition effect in there.
Yeah.
Depends on where you are coming from. With the AI feature, now that's a good question, guys, and then we'll finish. So the question is, which one is a better approach? Like if you want to do if else, should you click on the new step and then do if else, or with the formula? I would say if the AI feature was not there, then the traditional if else add a new step was a good option. But now with the text prompting which is available, everything is a formula. Whatever you want to do, just type it in English, it converts that into a formula and it gets going. So I would say formula, if you get used to, is a decent option because in the hackathon, you will have access to the AI feature where you can just do a text prompt and it will convert automatically to formula. So get used to the formula, but always keep in mind this option is also there because the other option is very straightforward. It's like, 100% you know what you're doing. In this, it could come up with some random formula. AI can make the formulas a bit complex. But because AI feature is there, now no one remembers the formula. You just need to put a text prompt and convert it. Any other questions that I can help you with? In customer rating, yes, ideally we should have done a lot of other transformation, which we will do. So when we go to an AI modeling, this is what we will see. We'll see, look, there are still some missing values, there are still some NRs, there are still some this. We treat everything and then move on to the AI recipe where we will start running the models. Any other questions that I can help you with? All good? If yes, then I'll see you all tomorrow afternoon. Take care. Thank you so much.
So,
Yeah.
in the columns, if by mistake I press something wrong,
Hmm.
then how do I put it?
Which column?
Anything like, for example.
Now, I was just doing this, so I actually to be clear some outside as well. So is there any option that I can move it? So now I did sort.
Yeah.
But then again, there was just.
But it doesn't, yeah, it doesn't change anything. It's like if you are changing your
I
data,
just go back and check that.
then you can do only the prepare step, and then you can delete that step where you made the change. This is just the view of the data. So even if you're sorting, you're just viewing the data in a different way. So it is not changing the data that you need to go back. But yeah, anything that you actually change in the prepare recipe, you can double click on the prepare one. That step where you change something, you can get rid of it, rerun again, and the data gets updated. Yeah. All right. Thank you so much, guys. See you tomorrow.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, online students. If anyone needs any help,
Thank you, sir.
thank you.
Thank you, sir. So my attendance, I couldn't scan the QR.
Yeah. So, whenever you have missed the one, I'll create a form.